as we know, the new Cloudbuster officer is arriving, and we are going to be doing some testing today just to see how good she is. Now, I've heard good things about her, so let's jump straight in and find out if she really is that good. So on our other account, guys, we are going to have a fighter. This fighter, guys, is going to have the standard sort of Silver Fox with Nagarani. I love testing with Silver Fox and Nagarani because not everyone obviously has Fleeting Arrow, but most people do have Nagarani. So I like to have this because it's a very strong officer combination. And we are going to start off with the new current sort of meta, what most people are using right now, which is going to be NightHawk with BladeWing. Even though we've done this in the past, just so we can get the information out for you guys to see it. We are going to see how fast this combination here manages to defeat the actual unit here, which is going to be the tanking unit. Now, as most people know, when attacking someone, you need to be going after their tank. Well, most people will end up fighting the tank unit. Once the tanking unit dies, either that person will run away or they will end up just losing all of their other units. So whoever basically loses their tanking unit first is, at the end of the day, who is going to end up losing the battle. So here we are, guys. We are now going to initiate this fight and see how it turns out. So obviously the tanking unit is attacking the other tanking unit, and now we're basically going to see how fast our units here kill that tanking unit. And then we're going to do the same test where we're going to test with obviously Cloudbuster and the new officer NightHawk. Now, obviously, we are going to be I do assume that NightHawk and Cloudbuster together is going to obviously absolutely dominate, but I'm genuinely curious to see how it does compared to obviously the current sort of free-to-play method and also the previous crit build, which would have been Sky Jockey with Darkwing, because that has obviously always been the sort of #1 go-to, especially with the fact that Darkwing has always been the sort of paid option that has been absolutely terrorizing the skies since he came out. So after we've done this report here, hopefully we'll be able to get a sort of gauge roughly on how long it took for him to kill. Now, obviously, it does take time for the sort of the battle report to come to an end. So normally when I do these sort of tests with the air units, I do like to test via the actual time, the initial frame in which it starts and the initial frame in which it dies. But obviously, I'm not going to be able to do that just now. And then we will do the same test again, but this time we will end up changing it around. And we're just going to go in for this old school combination right now. We are going to do Darkwing here with Sky Jockey. And then once we've done this combination, we will do the final one, which is the newest officer. So I'm going to be curious to obviously see the difference between them all. Okay, so here it is, guys. We're going to once again jump straight in and do the exact same test here with Darkwing and Sky Jockey. Obviously, I do assume from previous tests we've done, the other combination was quicker. We obviously done lots of tests with that before, obviously when the new NightHawk first came out. But I just want to do these two again so that we can get it for this video, so that we can test how better or worse Cloudbuster is going to be compared to both of these combinations. So honestly, from reading her skills, obviously she has a lot of crit damage with the skill damage, and as we know, crit damage is random and skill damage is obviously guaranteed. But at the same time, if you put the two together, I think that's absolutely amazing. So the more skill you have, the more crit you're going to end up doing as well. I think that's honestly just going to be absolutely unstoppable. And I even have seen a couple of 1v1 tests. For example, anything right now that is not a just full defense. So as we know, in a 1v1 situation, if you have just such high defense, no matter what you have, it cannot beat through the combination in regards to the offense, and obviously it does end up winning. But if you have any form of offensive officers versus other offensive officers, normally crit would win. So as we know, with NightHawk and BladeWing, it can't be the crit build, which is obviously Darkwing and Sky Jockey in a 1v1 situation, because that crit just absolutely destroys it. But with this new Cloudbuster, I've obviously seen, and I'm sure you guys have seen as well, that Cloudbuster wins those 1v1s. So I'm just curious of the difference between taking down that defensive fighter first, because as we know, most people, not everyone, but most people have 2 fighters now. Obviously, not everyone has 3. If you have 3, that's going to be absolutely insane. But the average person who is been playing this game for a little bit of time has 2 fighters. Now, obviously, maybe you only have 1 fighter and a bomber. That's going to be different. But even then, you wouldn't probably go with someone like Cloudbuster or any offensive officers if you only have 1 fighter. Especially if you're running a bomber, you're going to have a sort of more defensive kind of fighter so that you're able to protect and sponge for your bomber going in. But with that being said, guys, we are going to quickly take a look at these 2 reports here. So the first one, which was NightHawk with BladeWing, it did kill here in, it says the test lasted for 1 minute and 14 seconds, and this is the result here, 98.1 mil damage. Now if we come over to this one, we got a lot more damage on this one, but it took longer to get it because I'm assuming, and this one here actually ended up getting some kills as well, which is kind of crazy. But overall, guys, as I said, like the time this one took was 1 minute and 21 seconds. So again, if we went frame by frame, I'm pretty confident that this is the one that would actually end up winning. It killed it in the quicker time overall. But I generally do think, guys, especially with the fact that this one requires you to have a lounge officer, the other ones are both free to play, it's going to be the better option overall. They are obviously with a new Gen 5 officer. Now, this is where the big test comes. Let's see how quick the new Cloudbuster is compared to the 2 tests we just done, which was the previous best 2 options available. Obviously, there also was an option with this combo here, but, you know, we could do that test as well, but I don't think it's 100% necessary to do that. But as I mentioned, we're going to go through, we're going to put Cloudbuster on here. Let's grab the fighters out and get ready and to go. We're just going to go straight into this here. So obviously we want to line up our defense fighter there and our offense fighter, and then we are just going to go and attack. So again, exact same thing. Obviously the sponge will be at the front, and then the obviously offense fighter comes in behind. And already straight off the rip, I'm genuinely seeing big chunks coming out the moment those skill shots come in. Obviously the way Cloudbuster works is when she hits a crit with a skill, she ends up boosting the damage of her crit as well. So the next crit that comes in will do even more damage. And I believe it's because it's the troop, it's not her. So whenever either Cloudbuster or NightHawk hits a skill shot, it has a chance to crit. So you literally get double crit with these officers. So with that being said, this looks to me already a lot faster, but we'll know obviously in a minute when we look at the results here. Now, in most of them, or in both of the other tests, we actually ended up losing one of our tanking units during that. Now, we almost lost one, but we didn't lose any during this fight, which is obviously going to be a little bit of a difference. So I'm really excited to see the result here. But as I mentioned, guys, this is an exclusive lounge officer, so it's probably only going to be for the ones that spend lots of money on the game. Obviously, if you've just finished your lounge officer and you're thinking of maybe starting a new officer and who should you go for, if you are wanting to increase your sort of air, she is 100% going to be someone you go for. So as we can see here, the results coming in 1 minute 4 seconds. So we went from 1 minute 14 with the first attack, 1 minute 21 with the second attack, now at 1 minute 4. Now the damage here obviously is 101 mil. It is kind of crazy to me that the way that this works is obviously you got to think in the real world as well, guys. Like in the battlefield at that time, you know, it's not always going to be you're sat there attacking the one plane without moving around. You're going to be moving, you're going to be, you know, going in and out of battles. That is 100% understandable. And in that aspect, maybe, you know, this combination with the crit will still be maybe reigning champion in that. But if you are just someone who's going in there and just trying to hit as much as you can for as long as you can, then obviously this option here is going to be the better one for you. Now, I personally think, guys, that she is absolutely amazing. Let's quickly go through the skills that make her really strong. She has a 20% crit rate with a 900, but it's also every single skill she has is just pure offense, really, if you look at it. So she has 15% damage. This is honestly a really good skill. 15% on both is pretty rare for a balanced skill. And I'm sure moving on to the future Gen 5s or even Gen 6s, you're going to see this a lot more common. Then obviously we have another one, which is officer skill boost, normal attack boost. This is also another crazy offense skill. And then even this one here, where it is increasing the firepower by 30%, but also reducing the enemy's damage resist or up to 30%, I think is honestly going to be crazy. And then, as we mentioned here, increases the crit strike every time you hit a crit. So she's just building up and does more and more and more damage over time, but also reduces the enemy's damage resist over time as well, which means she's just getting double as strong from both reducing the enemy and increasing herself. It makes sense that she's exclusive lounge, but let me know, guys, are you going to be getting this officer? I think she's absolutely amazing. If I could, I would get her, but as most of you know who have been on my journey with me, I've literally just finished Red Heat, and due to the officer swap we had not too long ago, I actually ended up switching my old Saber that I never used. I started on him at the very start of the game, and obviously I'd used that event to luckily switch it over to Vindicta because she was the newest Howie officer out for the event. I wish that the new Silent Thunder was out, but, you know, it's understandable he wasn't. Otherwise, that would have been pretty crazy to get him straight off the rip. But obviously, I switched it to Vindicta. So now my Vindicta is at 4443. And, you know, I might as well continue with her. There's no point in me starting now with this officer, even though I would love to have this officer. Unfortunately, I do need to go down that route of completing Vindicta. Hopefully, I'll have her in about a year's time. So who knows who's going to be the newest exclusive lounge officer within 1 year's time. There could be some crazy Gen 6s coming out for that. So guys, I appreciate you all for tuning in. If you did enjoy this video, please think about liking the video. And if you haven't done so, share this to your alliance, share this to the Discord servers you're in, share it to your WhatsApp groups. We can share this and get it out to as many people so they can subscribe. We are so close to 6,000 subscribers, and honestly, it's been an amazing journey so far. I appreciate you all. Hope everyone has an absolutely amazing rest of your week, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.